Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today, our source material is, well, it's less of a story and more of a blueprint for a high-stakes international security operation that's just disguised as a thriller.
That's a great way to put it. We're looking at a really complex strategy. It's engineered by our two main characters, Hannah and Owen, and this is 5 years after he was forced to disappear.
Right, so our mission today, for you listening, is to really move past just the plot points. We want to get into the deep architecture of this entire plan.
Exactly. We're talking about contingency mapping at a very high level. This isn't just one plan. It's a design meant to anticipate multiple failure points.
Wonderful.
And it's all orchestrated to force this final, irreversible confrontation with a really powerful organization. It required synchronized escape routes, coded communication.
Hidden inside family memories, which is just brilliant.
Absolutely. And critically, it's all about leveraging a really bitter family conflict through what is basically a strategic, non-lethal sacrifice.
Okay, let's set the scene for everyone. We're in Los Angeles. It's 5 years later.
Right.
Hannah, the woodworker, and Bailey, her daughter, who is now 22, are living in this great craftsman house in Santa Monica.
And she's sold the old floating house in Sausalito, the one that was so exposed.
She sold it, but that hasn't really brought her peace. She's in this constant state of what you could call operational readiness. She just lives with the assumption that they're still being watched.
And that the single biggest risk is Owen reappearing. It's not really life, is it? It's a high-stakes waiting game.
It's a waiting game. And that background tension, it's so crucial for what happens next. Bailey, on the other hand, is living this super high-stress but civilian life.
It's just kind of the perfect cover.
It is. She's writing a musical, which is a modern take on Pandora's Box.
All about the unforeseen consequences of hope. The irony there is pretty thick.
Right. But her day job is just pure chaos. She works for this place called Slight Casting Agency. And the source gives us this incredible little detail about her boss, Alice.
Oh, this part is amazing.
Bailey was unavailable for just 18 minutes.
18. And in that time, Alice sent her 38 text messages.
38. Cycling between firing her and then rehiring her in the same message chain.
And that detail, it seems like flavor, but it's not. It establishes this baseline of anxiety and chaos. It normalizes these frantic, demanding messages.
Which is exactly what the coded messages need to blend into later. It's the perfect white noise.
Exactly. The high operational tempo of her job means that when the real frantic messages start coming in from Owen and Hannah, they blend in. It provides plausible deniability if anyone were monitoring her communications.
So you have this contrast. Bailey's messy artistic life and Hannah's hyper-vigilant, carefully organized operational security. It's the foundation of their cover.
And it's on that foundation that the whole operation kicks off.
The trigger.
So Hannah's at the Pacific Design Center in LA. She's debuting a new furniture collection, White Oak, at this First Look exhibition.
A very deliberate, high-exposure environment. It just reinforces her public identity as a successful artisan. It solidifies this new normal she's built. And then Owen appears. It's a huge, calculated risk.
A massive risk. And his disguise, the source is really specific here. It's extreme. He's trying to maximize the physical separation between who he is now and the man that this organization is hunting.
So she's got a buzz cut, darker hair, a dramatically reshaped crooked nose.
And a whole sleeve of spider-like tattoos. This is strategic transformation. It's not just a haircut. This is complete profile obfuscation.
The goal being to make him unrecognizable, not just to the public, but to any mid-level surveillance operative who might only have old photos to work from.
And yet, Hannah spots him instantly.
Instantly. And this is the part that just cuts right through all the OPSEC and hits you in the gut.
It's the ring.
The slim oak wedding ring she made for him. It's still on his hand. That single detail confirms it's him, and more than that, it confirms his absolute commitment to her.
You know, from a tradecraft perspective, leaving that ring on is both a huge flaw and an act of genius.
How so?
Well, it's the single point of failure that allows recognition. But because it's so personal, it guarantees that only his intended target, only Hannah, can make the positive ID.
Ah, okay. So he approaches her by creating this little diversion. He drops some papers.
Right, an organic excuse to get close without lingering. And his voice is low when he delivers the code. The could have been boys, still love you.
It's brief, it's emotional, it has no context for anyone else. It just confirms the status has changed and that it's time to move.
And the contact is fleeting. He's gone. No time for conversation, no risk of emotional leakage or accidental identification. He just vanishes.
But the danger is verified almost immediately, the very next morning. This is where it shifts from just a sighting to full activation.
Hannah gets a text. International number. A +61 code, so Australia, which is a clue in itself.
And the message is just 2 words.
Check your pocket. She finds a flash drive in her leather motorcycle jacket. The signal has been delivered.
And the threat model is activated instantly. We go from coded message to a physical penetration attempt. The doorbell rings.
It's a burly guy in a SoCal Gas uniform. He's claiming there's a leak from the neighbor's house and he needs to check her line.
But Hannah knows. She knows this is a staged infiltration.
Yeah.
An extreme intervention, as they call it. The organization isn't just watching anymore. They're coming inside.
That specific threat, the fake gas leak, it tells you a lot about the organization's sophistication.
Right. Why that instead of just, breaking down the door?
Because a gas leak is a high-priority, non-refusable excuse. It leverages public safety protocols. It mandates immediate, unchallengeable entry into a home. It forces the target to open the door quickly, minimizing her reaction time. It's a tactical tool.
And at the same time, the outside world just confirms the chaos. Bailey's Uncle Charlie calls, and he is frantic.
He confirms that her grandfather, Nicholas, has died. Supposedly a heart condition, but the timing is just far too convenient.
And he drops the most critical piece of intel. Justin, the bodyguard, is missing from Bailey's post.
That's the real alarm bell. Charlie's last words, "Nothing's okay," that's the final confirmation. Security is breached.
So the plan has to change. It goes from passive evasion to active execution. And Hannah's response is just a masterclass in this contingency mapping we've been talking about.
She doesn't engage with the fake repairman at all. She immediately executes a pre-planned escape route.
Let's get into the specifics of her movement. She grabs the flash drive, the go bag, and she climbs up to the attic window.
Avoiding the ground floor entirely where the threat is, she gets out and goes down a trellis.
And then through the neighbor's yard, the Blonders, and out their front gate. Why that specific non-linear path?
It's all about avoiding known choke points. The front door, her own perimeter, it's all compromised. The trellis, the neighbor's property, that's an unknown vector. It gives her a moment of tactical surprise.
Okay, so she hits the street and heads to Shutters on the Beach Hotel to grab a taxi. A civilian vehicle.
And she gives the driver a specific indirect route, Appian Way to PCH, and she explicitly says to avoid Ocean Avenue and Main Street. Mitigating ground surveillance risk. If the organization has spotters on her main routes, Ocean and Main, taking the indirect route forces them onto less efficient, longer-range surveillance. It buys her precious minutes.
And then the SIM card.
The ultimate move. She uses a paper clip to pop the SIM, crushes it, and throws it out the window. That cuts the digital leash instantly.
It's a textbook example of digital triage. By destroying the SIM, she halts all location tracking, all triangulation attempts. The phone is just a brick.
Exactly. The trail goes cold immediately.
Now, in parallel, Bailey is being just as disciplined. She gets the coded text, "late drink."
Which just sounds like normal LA social planning, but she immediately knows the status quo has changed.
And her response mirrors Hannah's. First, she calls Justin. No answer. That confirms the operational failure.
Then she destroys her own phone by dropping it in a sink full of soapy water. It's slower than crushing the SIM, but it ensures the hardware is totally corrupted. No chance of forensic recovery.
And her physical escape is completely different from Hannah's. She grabs 2 keys, one blue, one red.
The blue key is the tactical advantage. It gets her into the building super's apartment, which has a private internal exit route. It completely bypasses the main lobby and the front door where a surveillance team would definitely be posted.
It's just genius compartmentalized planning. If Hannah's escape was high risk and external, Bailey's is low risk and internal, relying on architectural obscurity.
She comes out in the lobby of the building next door, totally separate from her known residence, takes the elevator down to parking level 4.
And there, waiting for her, is the red key unlocked Jetta. This is a non-attributable asset.
Right. Her mother's best friend, Jules, bought and registered it. So the car's paper trail, insurance, registration, it all leads back to Jules, a civilian contact.
Plausible deniability in action.
The purest form. And the car is fully stocked. Full tank of gas, full trunk. Bailey's instructions were simple. Don't open the trunk, just move.
The synchronization is flawless. Both women execute these complex, pre-planned escapes under immediate threat, and they achieve separation without compromising the next phase.
They meet up at Jake's Malibu beach house, a safe harbor, and that's where the real strategic work begins. Decoding Owen's map.
Okay, let's move into that decryption process. The flash drive itself has a specific protocol. It can only be used on a clean laptop with all wireless capabilities disabled. Absolute untraceability.
And the first thing Hannah sees when she boots it up is a marine compass on the homepage. That immediately signals movement, navigation, direction.
The compass sets the tone, but the real code is hidden in plain sight.
In 5 photo albums, Sausalito, Owen H. Honeymoon, Baby Bailey, Family, and Hannah's work. Owen is using emotional nostalgia as a delivery system for tactical instructions.
So Hannah uses the laptop's finder function, organizes the files by date modified, and hones in on the first one Owen created or changed. Sausalito.
It's a brilliant use of metadata. He's keying the instruction to the file modification date, ensuring she focuses on the exact message meant to initiate the network.
Inside that album, along with all the old photos, there are pictures of their friends, Carl and Patty. But the crucial photo is Owen standing between Carl and Carl's brother, Daniel.
That's the breadcrumb. That's the signal for the operational network.
So Hannah realizes she has to make contact, but carefully. She calls Patty, who runs an art gallery, instead of calling Carl, Owen's closest friend. Why?
Compartmentalization. Risk mitigation. Carl is the known intimate friend. He's the more likely surveillance target. Patty, managing a public gallery, provides a more plausible, open line of communication.
And when Hannah calls, Patty immediately confirms the operational shift. She just says, Daniel is who you want.
Which confirms the coded photo worked exactly as intended. No need to discuss the threat over the phone.
Daniel, they remember, is a pilot. He lives in Morro Bay. Patty gives Hannah the precise instructions.
Napa County Airport, 10 a.m. next morning. Find runway 19R1L, tail number 82165.
And she gives them a name, Tammy O'Sullivan, and a code phrase, the Roberts Party.
This is just layering plausible deniability on top of compartmentalization. Mrs. Roberts sounds like a normal charter flight, a common activity for high-value civilians. It masks the true nature of their escape.
Patty's final words to her are chilling. You shouldn't be thanking anyone yet. This is just getting started.
Which confirms this is just the activation point, not the destination.
So before we get to that flight, we need to understand Owen's 5-year absence. Because he wasn't just hiding, he was doing the intense strategic work that built this entire operation.
The source material is very clear on this. He spent nearly 6 years in Marlborough, New Zealand, working at a biodynamic vineyard called Billow Lake Private Select Wines.
Under an alias, Lucas Timothy McQuaid, using an Irish passport.
And his cover was maintained by Tom, a friend of his mother's, who recognized him but kept his secret. So he had this deep cover asset, someone with a familial connection who prioritized loyalty.
And during this entire time, Owen's focus was on intelligence gathering, strategic mapping. He wasn't hiding from the organization. He was meticulously charting their weaknesses.
He created these detailed organizational charts on Frank, the patriarch, and crucially, on all 6 of Frank's children.
Why the children?
Because they were the future leverage point. Frank was aging. The kids, especially Quinn and Teddy, they were the reckless immediate threat. Owen knew that to get permanent safety, he couldn't just target Frank. He had to target the vulnerabilities of the next generation.
And he's doing all this on public computers and libraries, coffee shops.
Cloaking his IP address, operating as if every single search was being traced. It's high-risk, low-footprint intelligence gathering.
And the central realization that comes out of all this mapping is that he can't do it alone. The road back to Hannah and Bailey, it always led to Nicholas Bell.
Hannah's father, the man who despised Owen, but who also had the institutional history and the resources necessary for the final confrontation.
Recruiting Nicholas is a masterpiece of psychological warfare. It had to be untraceable, non-attributable, and deeply personal.
So Owen's first move is this high-risk trip, 1,600 miles to Fiji, just to mail an unsigned letter.
On stationery from Nicholas's favorite hotel in Hawaii, he sends it to Nicholas's lake house in Texas.
And the message is so succinct, so emotional. If something happens to you, they'll be in danger. It doesn't ask for help. It leverages Nicholas's single deepest fear.
6 months later, the second step is even riskier. Owen flies to San Francisco, gets into Nicholas's room at the Hotel Driscoll during Bailey's high school graduation.
And leaves an envelope with critical data points about the organization's leadership. The annotation was simple. If you tell me where to meet you, I'll be there. It puts the ball entirely in Nicholas's court.
And how Nicholas responds is fascinating. 6 months after that, he uses a public but culturally coded signal.
Bailey's Instagram grid.
Right. Bailey posts a Christmas Eve photo from that same favorite hotel on the Big Island. And Nicholas, who is famously private, is in the picture, flanked by his grandkids.
It's not just a holiday photo. It's a signal. It's him telling Owen, I'm watching, I'm engaged, and their safety comes before my hatred of you.
That photo was the confirmation of the alliance. It showed Owen that Nicholas was ready to break all his own rules for his family.
The meeting happens 2 months later at that hotel, room 1807. Nicholas checks in under an alias, Meredith Smith. And the dynamic in that room, it says everything.
Nicholas pulls a gun on him.
Points it right at his heart, but he stands down. He realizes Owen's existence is now necessary to protect Hannah and Bailey, and he says the line that seals the deal. Turns out I love her more than I hate you.
Wow. And for there, they spend months compiling 30 years of history, correspondence, detailed information, preparing the ultimate leverage package.
And Nicholas understood the stakes. He told Owen they couldn't both get out of this alive. He was setting the stage for his own strategic sacrifice.
That alliance is the foundation for everything that follows. So before heading to Napa, Hannah and Bailey make one intermediate stop.
A safety stop in Scotts Valley in the Santa Cruz Mountains, at an estate owned by a friend of Jules, a tenured journalism professor and, get this, the heir to a snack food empire.
An unlikely safe house, which makes it even more secure.
And the estate itself, pool house, vineyards, sweeping views, it all reinforces the camouflage. They're hiding in plain sight, blending into the coastal elite.
And the security protocol here is all about communication hygiene. Hannah calls Jules, not on a cell phone, but on a secured landline.
The kitchen phone at Francis, the restaurant where Hannah and Owen had their wedding dinner.
That's brilliant. Why is that specific phone so critical?
Because it's completely not attributable to her current network. It's a landline, so its location is fixed, but who would ever think to monitor the kitchen phone of a busy restaurant in the Castro? It's a dead-drop protocol disguised as a casual check-in.
Okay, so now we get to the strategic shift. The moment the plan is forced to change. Hannah and Bailey leave the Jetta-lock near the Napa County Airport. They walk to the tarmac.
And Daniel, the pilot, is there. He greets Hannah as Mrs. Roberts, keeping up the chartered flight pretense, and he hands them passports.
Passports that neither of them had sent for, which is another layer of non-attributable asset provision. The initial flight plan is Napa to Le Bourget in Paris.
The expected high-profile escape route.
But mid-flight, the plane is compromised. The plane is diverted, supposedly because of weather.
And it lands at OPF, Miami Opelika Executive Airport, Miami.
The organization's home base. Fisher Island is there. The diversion is clearly a hostile move. Daniel, the pilot, is visibly shaking. It's a setup.
This is where planning meets the reality of a powerful adversary. The organization compromised Daniel or the flight plan itself. The Miami diversion is their attempt to reel Hannah and Bailey into enemy territory.
And it forces Hannah into this brutal decision. Call Grady, the U.S. Marshal that Owen trusted, which guarantees their safety but completely derails the mission to find Owen.
Or trust the unseen second layer of Owen's plan.
She chooses the latter. She prioritizes finding Owen over immediate safety. They refuse to get off the plane, force it to refuel, and get back in the air.
That moment is so pivotal. It confirms her operational bias. She will always choose strategic risk over guaranteed institutional protection if it means getting her husband back.
So they finally get to Paris, and the decoy strategy is deployed immediately. They check into Le Bristol, a huge, historic, highly traceable hotel.
It creates a public trail for any surveillance to easily pick up, and then they immediately slip out.
To their actual operational base, the Reserve, a small, exclusive hotel where they spent their honeymoon.
It's classic strategic obfuscation. You establish a false vector of movement, draw the initial surveillance to the wrong spot while you execute the real move.
At La Reserve, Hannah goes back to the flash drive, the O&H honeymoon album. She's looking for the final coded map.
And she finds it, a photograph that doesn't belong, Picasso's Ulysses and Sirens.
The choice of that clue is so deeply psychological, and it's tailored specifically for Bailey.
Exactly. The painting is about Ulysses resisting temptation. It's tied to Bailey's 8th grade Odyssey project that Owen helped her with. It's a shared memory that provides absolute certainty.
A quick search confirms the painting is at the Musée Picasso Antibes in the south of France. That's the target.
But the danger hasn't gone away. Bailey spots a man following them from Le Bristol. A bearded man in a black hat in a green army jacket.
Hannah recognizes him, notes he looks familiar. The threat is still immediate.
And then comes the big twist. In room 202 at La Reserve, they're expecting to find Owen.
But instead, they find Nicholas Bell, alive.
His death was faked. It was the foundational layer of the entire final confrontation strategy.
Let's analyze the strategic value of that. Owen and Nicholas engineered this high-profile natural cause death.
Which triggered immediate institutional chaos. Charlie frantic call, Justin's disappearance. This gives them two critical assets. First, it moves Nicholas off the active threat board. He's a casualty.
Second, it justifies the organization's increased reckless activity, the fake gas leak. It allows Quinn and Teddy to overstep their bounds.
Which is exactly what Nicholas needed to provide the context for the ultimate confrontation. He confirms it was them, Frank's kids, who are now running daily operations and authorized the extreme intervention.
And he tells them Frank is mostly consulting now, spending his time in this cliffside village as in the south of France.
The targeting is precise. The plan is to crash Frank's 80th birthday party in Ez. The location is isolated, high-profile, defensible. A perfect setting for a forced negotiation.
And Nicholas, as a former associate, is still on the guest list.
And then the follower, the bearded man, walks in carrying a tray of coffees. Seth. He reveals himself as one of Owen's contacts.
So he wasn't surveillance. He was tactical security, making sure they got there safely.
This layering of unknown allies within the threat environment is high risk, but it was crucial for their success.
Hannah insists on going with Nicholas. She realizes they have to face Frank, Quinn, and Teddy all at once to force a solution.
The approach to Ez is physically demanding. They stop at a place called Metzvin's Cheeks to change clothes, right next door to the municipal police station.
Another tactical choice. The proximity to law enforcement is a non-lethal deterrent.
They then climb the steep Nietzsche path. Nicholas is visibly struggling with his heart condition. It just emphasizes the immense personal cost of this sacrifice for him.
When they arrive, the security is intense. The critical moment comes when an American guard with a Texas accent demands to check Hannah's bag. He wants to confiscate the tablet inside.
And that tablet holds the entire leverage package. Losing it would be catastrophic.
So Hannah's quick-thinking lie saves the mission. She invents this story about the tablet being a hidden camera so she can watch her son back home. An overprotective mom.
She appeals to the guard's own parental instinct. It works. He lets her keep it. It just shows you that in high-stakes ops, improvisation is just as critical as pre-planning.
Okay, we've reached the strategic core of the whole operation. The confrontation. Nicholas and Hannah face Frank, Quinn, and Teddy.
Nicholas presents the tablet. It contains live camera feeds and surveillance photos of all 6 of Frank's children's homes across the U.S.
And the password to unlock it. Kate's birthday.
It's not just a password. It's a psychological weapon. Kate was Nicholas's daughter, who was killed because of Quinn's youthful overreach years ago. Using that date forces Frank to immediately acknowledge the institutional debt and failure.
Nicholas says this is a delivery, not a negotiation. He tells him that to secure Hannah and Bailey permanently, Frank has to leverage the lives and legal exposure of his own children.
And the live feeds are the ultimate guarantee. Static files can be dismissed, but live feeds are undeniable, real-time proof of vulnerability. They hold Quinn and Teddy hostage instantly.
This whole confrontation, though, it requires a perceived cost. So Frank pulls a gun and shoots Nicholas.
A superficial graze to the shoulder.
Right.
This is the absolute peak of the strategic planning, the proxy cost. The shooting is not an execution, it is theater. It's performed for Quinn and Teddy.
So Frank is acknowledging that Nicholas has won. But to enforce the deal and make sure his kids don't seek revenge later, a price has to be paid.
Exactly. Nicholas becomes the necessary injured victim. It guarantees Hannah and Bailey are rendered untouchable because Frank paid the cost with Nicholas's blood. He transitions from adversary to untouchable casualty.
While all this is happening, Bailey is executing her final movement in Antibes.
Right. Hannah dropped her in Old Town. Bailey goes to the Musée Picasso Antibes, the location from the clue, and blends into a tour group.
She uses the museum's family bathroom to wait out any potential tails, making sure she's clean when she enters the rendezvous point.
She sits on the bench in front of the Picasso painting, the symbolic anchor.
And Owen arrives. The reunion is quiet, understated. Their connection is confirmed not by big words, but just by shared memories and him being there.
And Bailey is the one who initiates the final stage. She takes his hand and says, "I hear we have a boat to catch." It's the pivot from strategy back to family. The danger's been neutralized.
So the final escape relies on a pre-planned decoy strategy. Hannah meets Nicholas back at the parking lot.
And Nicholas insists on being left behind. He's heading to a safe house, a small farm in Tuscany where his wife is buried. His absence and his visible injury are the enduring guarantees of the non-aggression pact. He is the visible price that was paid.
And the decoy plan for Hannah is executed immediately. She drives Nicholas's car into a garage in Antibes where Seth is waiting with another car.
And two decoys, dressed exactly like Hannah and Nicholas, take the first car to the nice airport.
They create a false trail, a clear vector toward Austin, Texas. It diverts any active surveillance to a completely false destination.
Buying Hannah the operational window she needs to get to the docks.
She takes a taxi to Port Vauban, walks down the quiet docks to the pre-staged boat. She recognizes the make and model. It's one she knows how to operate.
On board, the resolution finally begins. She finds Bailey asleep in the cabin, surrounded by her musical notes, exhausted but safe.
And then she finds Owen on the deck. She turns to face him, ready to let go of all the pain.
And he confirms the future plan, a permanent, safe life together in L.A. He's secured a piece of land near Los Alamos, near Santa Barbara, a vineyard and an old barn.
And the plan is a synthesis of their old lives and their new knowledge. He's going to turn the barn into her dream workshop and the vineyard into his own biodynamic winery using the skills he learned in New Zealand.
It's a future built on earned peace. Nicholas's sacrifice guaranteed the non-aggression pact. The cost was paid.
It's a remarkable plan. It used every strategic avenue, from tech obfuscation to leveraging these intense family political dynamics. That confrontation in Ez was the fulcrum that guaranteed the end of a 5-year global saga.
And it's important to remember the authorial context here. This is Laura Dave, a #1 best-selling author. This sequel, the first time I saw him, it provides a definitive, earned piece. It's not a cliffhanger. It's a strategically resolved conclusion.
What stands out most to me is just the sheer complexity of the contingency mapping. They didn't just plan for getting caught. They planned for being forced into enemy territory, the Miami diversion, and had a secondary coded plan ready to go.
The plan was never just to run away. It was to execute a strategic maneuver that made running away unnecessary in the long term. Nicholas turning himself into an untouchable asset, a permanent cost for the organization's breach. That's the real strategic victory.
Which brings us to our final provocative thought for you to chew on. We've analyzed this plan that relied on impeccable strategy executed by Owen and Nicholas. But the actual success of moving Hannah and Bailey from LA to the south of France, it hinged entirely on the unwavering loyalty of key peripheral figures. Daniel, the pilot, who risked everything by flying them after being compromised. Seth, the follower, who was actually providing security.
So what critical risks remain when high-stakes operational security relies not just on impeccable planning and encrypted systems, but also on the absolute unwavering personal loyalty of these compartmentalized figures who have to step outside the rules? And what does that reliance tell you about the true limits of self-reliance when the threat environment is global? Think about that next time you plan a move.